What's your favorite like boy band / girl band? Your favorite singing group, I guess I could say it that way. Because we were just singing Destiny's Child, and what's
would you consider Savage Garden a boy band?
Savage Garden, like
I'll be your wish, I'll be your fantasy, I'll be your hope, I'll be your love, be everything that you need. I love you more than madly, deadly. That song is so freaking airy. But believe it or not, I have won karaoke contest with that song.
Dude, I love Savage Garden. That brings me yeah, man. The 90s were just a better time, weren't they? They were just so I wouldn't consider them like a singing group though, because there's just two dudes.
All right, so I would say Nick Lachey was in
98 Degrees.
98 Degrees. I like listening to them, but I did not like watching them. But if I was to give you my ultimate favorite boy band, I'm old. It's going to have to be Boyz II Men.
Boyz II Men.
It just the harmonies. And if you wanted me to go female group, it would be In Vogue.
In Vogue. Wow. What a pull.
Because the harmonies in Vogue and the harmonies in Boyz II Men are unmatched. But I would give a nod to 98 Degrees. I love their sound, but I didn't like the way they looked when they sang.
I'd give it to the Beatles. Anyway.
The Beatles.
I think everyone's sleeping on the Jackson 5, first of all.
Well, that's a boy band, but absolutely. It wasn't necessarily a boy band.
It's just like when we think of boy bands, right? We always think of the 90s or late 80s. We always think of 98 Degrees, Boyz II Men. We always think of NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, New Kids on the Block. No one ever thinks about the Jackson 5
because they weren't necessarily marketed as a boy band.
But they were. It just wasn't. That wasn't. But like that wasn't the term.
No, not back in the 70s.
But that's totally what they were, though. They were kind of like. I feel like all the boy bands were trying to replicate what the Jackson 5 were. Like they were all trying to be that, right? Like they all wanted to be that. Like they all wanted to dance and they all wanted to sing and they all wanted to look pretty. You could mistake most of them as siblings.
That's
like
true.
In most of these bands, like.
Well, yeah, but I think I don't think that I would, because of the level of success of Michael Jackson out of the Jackson 5, it would be very difficult for me to brand the Jackson 5 as the groundbreakers for boy bands.
But like,
and also you have to realize that Janet Jackson sang with the Jackson 5 at one point too.
Yeah, but that was later on. And but the same could be said about NSYNC, right? Justin Timberlake has had a massive career since then. And Beyonce, I mean, even in Destiny's Child, like Destiny's Child was just Beyonce and the other ones.
Yeah. Like Michael and the other four Jacksons.
Yeah, for sure. But like, there's still a boy band. Or like the Beatles was always, it's John Lennon and the other guys.
Yeah. John Lennon.
I stand by the fact that the Beatles are a boy band. They totally are. They all
I think that there are some Beatle aficionados that would probably disagree with you, but by the nature and definition of boy band, yes, they were.
I'd say they are, man. Yeah, they all play instruments, but they all sing. They all had their own songs. They all like harmonize together. I don't know. The Beatles are shit, though. Is there a minimum number of boys that there has to be in order to be a boy band? I would say 3. It has to be 3. So you would say Hanson is a boy band? Yeah, Mbop for sure. Mbop, ba-doop-a-dop, dop, doo-wop, ba-doo-doo-bop, ba-doo-ba-dop, doo. Yeah, oh. Dude, I bumped hard to that. I'm not even going to lie. Oh, and they all look like 9-year-old little girls back then, and I was a grown ass man driving around City of Phoenix bumping Bop. Have you seen them now? Oh yeah, they're gorgeous. these old dudes. I love it. They're gorgeous. They grew up well, and they were on The Masked Singer, last season of The Masked Singer,
and their masked character were Russian snuggling dolls. You know how when you have like a big doll and you open it up and there's another small doll inside, and you open it up and there's another doll inside, and you open it up. That was what their mask was.
Yeah.
And they tried to throw everybody off the scent by sending out like 15 Russian dolls at one point, and I knew the whole time that it was Hanson.
It's weird. We always think that like boy bands are dead, and then like there will always be like some sort of resurgence of boy bands, because like we're like boy bands are dead, and then like One Direction showed up, or like boy bands are dead, and then like the Jonas Brothers showed up.
Or boy bands are dead, and then China pooped out some fake manufactured group that whatever the hell that they're called.
That's very offensive. It's Korea. They are Korean, and you're talking
whatever
about BTS.
It is. They are They are like manufactured, and their families are being held hostage if they don't perform properly.
What are you talking about? You don't think Destiny's Child and NSYNC and 98 Degrees were
those
not
are real people that work their way up. You don't hear anything you don't hear anything about BTS performing in the slums of Korea.
One Direction was literally a bunch of people that performed on the British X Factor show, and Simon Cowell said, "You guys would be good as a boy band." And that's how One Direction became a thing.
Where did BTS come from? That's my question.
Same thing.
No, it's not.
I think most of them
know.
I think a lot of BTS fans would take issue with that.
Bring it on,
sure they
BTS
do know.
fans.
I don't know, because I don't follow BTS, but
all the 15-year-olds come at me.
It's no different. I don't think it's any different. Like I
can't stand that group.
I think they're horrible too. But
they're fake. They're manufactured. They are Disney. If Disney was on crack, they aren't real. They don't like what they're doing. They look like they're forced to
perform.
They look like Joe Jackson is standing off stage with a stick and a belt waiting to get them off the stage.
Jackson 5 was just like they didn't want to be there.
But BTS looks like they were born and they were taken from their mother at the time that they were born. They were put into a lab and they were all made to look a certain way. They were starved so that they all wear the same size clothes. And then they were forced to learn how to dance and sing. And if one of them messes up, one of their family members gets shot in the head.
I feel like you just described NSYNC to me.
I just described BTS.
I feel like you just described NSYNC. It's the same thing. They were like child stars, and their parents were like, get with a whip. You know, they're like, Justin Timberlake, you're gonna go out there and dance for Mickey Mouse. You're gonna fucking dance for that Mickey Mouse guy.
No, because child stars had their parents. BTS boys have no parents. They are owned and operated by the Korean government.
What the fuck are you talking about? It's the same shit, man. It's the same shit.
Parents versus government operatives. You know what? I'm going to go any further.
What do you think Korea is? Do you think Korea is an enemy of America?
No, I'm saying that
what are you saying?
BTS, they're the same thing that
you think that BTS is like covert operatives in America right now?
No, they're robots. They're fake.
Saying?
They're fake robots. They're birds. The same technology that's in birds is in BTS.
The same technology that's in BTS was in NSYNC. I stand by this statement. They're the same exact fucking thing.
NSYNC are real boys. They're Pinocchios. They're real boys. BTS, they're not real.
Because they're American?
No, it has nothing to do with that. It's just look at BTS and look at NSYNC. NSYNC, they were clubbing. We have history. We know what their history, where they came from, where they started, how they were at the bottom before they became. We knew how they got their big break.
Pull up the BTS wiki.
BTS came out of nowhere and rocketed to instant stardom.
I don't even think that's true. We're just not from Korea.
It's the Illuminati's boy band. Their manufactured boy band. There makes no sense, and all their music has subliminal messages in it. That's why everyone that listens to it gets hooked on it. And BTS are now branded these gods of boy bands. They barely have hair above their junk.
BTS began its formation in 2010 after big hit entertainment CEO Bang Si-hyuk met group leader RM and was impressed with his rapping. BTS was originally supposed to be a hip-hop group, but between their initial formation and debut, they became contemporary singers.
You're reading that off the internet?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's reputable. They're fake, dude. They're birds. They're machines. BTS are not real people. They're not real boys.
What are they then? You think they're robots?
They're robots.
Think they're like Boston Dynamics robots, or
the same technology that's in birds are in the BTS.
Okay. Okay.
I can't stand that group because they're not real.
They're not real. They're not real.
It makes no sense how picture perfect they are at all times. And they're afraid to say anything. They're afraid to blink on. They blink in succession. Have you ever noticed that? It's like I can't blink before the guy next to me blinks. I'm telling you, bruh. BTS,
Korean.
They're machines. It's not real. And the machine that they're built on hasn't had the ability to be programmed to speak English yet. Have you noticed that too? Only one of them has the JavaScript. They're
Korean.
English.
They're Korean. They speak Korean.
They're machines, and if you lift up their shirts, it says "Made in Korea."
Okay, let's start the show.
5, 6, 7, 8.
What is up, boyos? Welcome to the Jake and Cory podcast. I'm Jake. That over there next to me, you can totally see him because this is a video podcast. Just kidding, it's not. That's Cory Blaze. How's it going, Cory?
What is up, Jake?
Very professional. I heard your phone go off. That's very professional. Very professional. Look, now he's just looking at his phone. Look at him.
I'm looking at you, you dreamy fuck.
The show's canceled. That's it.
We have to cancel it. I'm sorry.
We have to cancel it. So you've been watching them Olympics or what?
A little bit. I'm a little triggered.
Triggered?
Yeah, a little triggered.
Why are you triggered?
Because I don't like the fact that it's the Olympics in 2021 and all the signage says 2020. I understand it's a redo of the 2020 Olympics because the pandemic put it on hold, but I'm sorry, Japan. I have bought a lot of Honda cars. You can afford to change that damn signage from 2020 to 2021. Just send one of those.
That's a lot of rebranding. That's a lot of rebranding, though.
Don't care. You know? Send one of those little BTS boys around with a magic marker, scribble over the zero and write a 1.
That's very offensive. They're from Korea.
Oh, my
this
bad.
Is Japan.
I apologize for that, people. Please send your complaints to dtdoesn't-text-me-anymore@gmail.com. I'm just triggered by the freaking signage. And two things. I'm triggered by the signage saying 2020 because it messes up my epidural settings. When I look at it, I think I just went in. I just traveled in time. I look like I just walked into the set of Back to the Future, going back in time. And that's what I feel when I'm watching the freaking Olympics because everything says 2020. I don't know about you, but I want to forget 2020.
True.
Secondly,
True.
Who the hell cut off Devin Booker's mullet? I don't get that. That offends me. He's got short hair and he's wearing a bandana when he's playing in the USA basketball team, and I don't like it, and it upsets me, and I stopped watching it because I was too emotional.
Here's what triggers me about the Olympics. All right, it takes place in Japan, right? So all the events and stuff take place here locally. West Coast, USA. The events take place at like 2 a.m. our time.
Yeah.
So then I wake up in the morning and they're like, here's all the people who won gold. And it's like, I don't want to know. I wanted to watch it. And then it's like, why do I even need to watch it? I don't even need to watch it. Like,
yeah, because it happens in real time over there. And then when you wake up and you're reading all those BTS tweets, they're ruining what happened.
I know. It's like, I wanted to watch it. I wanted to watch this goddamn thing. Also, it's so hard to figure out how to watch these damn things because, it's on NBC or whatever, but I don't have cable. I don't have cable. And then it's like, well, you can watch it all on Peacock. But if you want to watch the replays on Peacock, they don't go there for like another 2 to 5 days. It's like, well, I wanted to watch them, but now it's all spoiled and everything's all out of order. And it's such a pain in the ass.
And it's like that anytime the Olympics are in overseas. You know what I mean? And I'm surprised I didn't see BTS during the opening ceremonies. But it's like that every time it's overseas, we get a delayed show. It's kind of like Saturday Night Live. New York and the East Coast gets it live, but us West Coast people, we've gotten the edited version 2 hours later. It's unfair. I think what they should do.
It's just like at 2 a.m.
We should. Do they air them live when it's at that early in the morning?
I think they do air them on Peacock.
I don't know. I'm not. But the only thing I'm watching at 2 o'clock in the morning is there's a P and a cock involved, but it's not NBC.
You watch pee porn?
No, when I'm watching that too. Yeah. Well, hey, eyes on your own paper. I'm a grown ass man, dog. At 2 o'clock in the morning, it gets very colorful.
One thing that's been very exciting about the Olympics for me, I've been a huge skateboard fan for most of my life. I've never really skateboarded because I'm not talented. I did longboard a bit. We talked about this recently, me and you, in private. But this is the first year that we're getting skateboarding, which is really cool because I've noticed as a skateboard fan that skateboarding has kind of been fading away, right? Like it's kind of, it's not as big as it was in like the late 90s, early 2000s. And this is huge. This is bringing it back. And it's honestly a shame that it took so long for it to make to the Olympics, because it would have been really cool to see like Tony Hawk at the Olympics, But the thing that's been really funny watching the skateboarding Olympics is the announcers don't seem to know like what the tricks are,
what's
like
happening.
What they're watching.
Yeah.
They're like, that's a nose slide. And it was like very, very much not a nose slide. And then I'm like, why don't they have Tony Hawk doing the commentary? Wouldn't that be like awesome if it was Birdman doing the fucking commentary?
Is there any of the Olympic sports have anybody of importance judging or calling them?
Yeah, I think specifically, I know when they do the Winter Olympics, they had the one, I forget his name. He was like a famous figure skater. He won a bunch of gold medals, and he became like the announcer for the figure skating at the Winter Olympics. So yeah.
Well, I watched one because I like to watch the swimming, and I like to watch the jumping around small people. And there was one dude, I think he was from BTS country, and he had a perfect game or a perfect showing on the pommel horse, where they put their hands up and they're spinning around and stuff like that on the big brown thing, and they're covered in chalk and stuff like that. Kid had a perfect game, and he would have gotten a perfect score, but when he stuck his landing, he walked off of the mat and celebrated off the mat. And then his coach said, "Oh no, go back on the mat." And he went back on the mat and then did that throw up their hands thing that they do to the crowd and stuff. The judges penalized him for leaving the mat before he did the hands up crowd thing. They penalized him. And I didn't stick around to see if it affected his ability to win gold or not. But how sucky would it be? And I haven't heard anything about it, so I don't know if if it really did affect him. But they penalized him for celebrating, then completing his presentation or whatever they call it on the little pommel horse thingy. That's some weird shit.
Isn't it funny that like these sports, I never see these sports ever. And then like every 4 years they come around and we're all like experts on these fucking sports. Like I don't know where to watch water polo.
Normally. I don't either.
But then like it comes on the Olympics and I'm like, look at these dudes like swimming as fast as they can to this ball. So they're like drowning each other in this fucking pool.
You're great.
It's the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life, dude.
Now, who's that pot smoking swimmer boy that lives out here? Michael
Phelps.
Yeah, Michael Phelps. Man, if I see one more Michael Phelps commercial, good Lord. It's been 17 years since he's won gold. Okay, we get it.
He won the most gold medals ever.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And 50 Cent has the most gold teeth, but we don't see him in every other commercial.
Vitamin water, dude. He bought vitamin water. He bounced.
Jesus. But I haven't been paying a lot of attention to it because
I think it's too hard. It's too hard. I really wanted to keep up with skateboarding. It's too hard to keep up with.
And I'm like you. How do these people that see these sports once every 4 years, how do they keep the parameters up. How do these judges actually judge these people? Oh, his arms were too far apart when he was going up on the Charlie horse flip around doohickey gadget.
I'd imagine the people who judge it aren't like us. They probably are legit.
And they're 500 feet away. What do they have? Those little opera glasses? How do they know his arms are too far apart? How do they know his middle finger moved too far to the left, which would have allowed his thrust to be a little stronger if it was just a little further to the right? The fuck? And that's a 10-point deduction. I don't understand. I don't get it. I think it's overblown. It's great.
That's a huge thing with skateboarding too, where like a lot of it is, a lot of skateboarding is subjective, and there is like the X Games and stuff. But like people who win the X Games, typically the X Games are like, it's a competition, but it's mainly just like dudes being like, dude, that was sick, man. That was sick.
Yeah.
But then you go to the X Games, you're competing against other countries, and it's like, how do you keep that fair? Where at like the X Games, it's kind of like, yeah, he won, and like everyone just sort of agrees. It's not a huge deal if people don't agree. But like, at the Olympics, it's kind of a big deal to decide who wins and who doesn't, right? I mean, like,
I guess so. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'm more concerned about the fact that a second lockdown is on its way.
Yeah, and it's been it's crazy. I don't even know what to say, man. It's sort of inevitable. We've been like documenting it over the past 3 weeks. We're like, things are starting to rise, and then the next week we're like, things are looking pretty bad. And then this week it's like, hey, Biden's like, hey, you should wear masks again.
I really think this all goes back to the fact that they shot their load too quick. They shot their load when they told people vaccinated people can take their mask off and not social distance, because then that gave the unvaccinated knuckle draggers and the anti-vaxxers and the anti-maskers the gung-ho to stop wearing masks and follow along, knowing that no one can legally ask them about their vaccination status.
I think you're right, but I want to put a caveat here, because here's a hot take, okay? I think, let's say this happened in the middle of when Obama was president. And hell, let's keep it even more fair. This happened in the middle of when George Bush was president, okay?
Which one, senior or W?
Let's say W, okay? Because he's an idiot. But let's say this happened in the middle of George W's, and same exact thing happened, and they were like, okay, as long as you're vaccinated, you could take your masks off. I don't think it would have been an issue, because I think everyone would have been like, yeah, okay, we'll just continue getting our vaccines. No big deal. I think the real problem comes is that they told us that we could take our masks off after a Trump presidency, and now all these loons they feel supported. They feel like there's a whole mass of I guess what I'm saying is there's a whole mass of people that are anti-vax that wouldn't have been anti-vax had we not had the dumb fuck in office for 4 years prior.
I agree with you too. If we wouldn't have had, because we never have experienced a time in American history where the leader of the free country was such a vocal challenge to simple science.
Right.
And I'm not downgrading science, but it's just like, look, you have people that have been doing this for years and years and years. And I hate to go back to the Obama era, but that's the most recent pandemic that we can have and refer to, when we had the bird flu and when we had the pandemic committee put together, or whatever that was called, and that was working on the ground in some of these countries where, these diseases originate from. And we had leaders, no matter what their party, listening to what was needed to be said, even all the way down to, you go back to W after 9/11 happened. The infectious disease, the CDC was involved in that. It wasn't big news, but they were involved in that because those two buildings coming down, they wanted to know what's now flying around in the air in New York City that could possibly affect people that weren't even in the towers. So the CDC was involved in that as well, and probably Fauci, because he was around during that time, was probably. But you're absolutely right. I really think this points back to the fact that we had a very adversarial administration that was attached to this thing. And I've said it on the show before, and I'll say it again: the worst pandemic happened under the worst presidential administration.
Yeah, because I guess what I'm saying is, like, yeah, there was definitely some division during both Obama and Bush, right? Like, there was division in the country, but I don't think we've ever been so divided as a country, at least in the past, like, I don't know, since the 60s, as we were in the last 4 years.
And there was another pandemic that required masks in America back in the 60s, I believe it was, or probably earlier than that, maybe the 50s. And it got a lot worse than what we experienced during what we're experiencing now.
Well, I mean, the Spanish flu was in 1919. So.
Okay, yeah. So the Spanish flu, I mean, people were lining up outside of soup kitchens to feed. And there was a segment of people back then that were anti-maskers. But I believe the caveat is the fact that those anti-maskers did not have a leader, a political leader, feeding in to their fake worries or their concerns.
Well, and they also didn't have a previous pandemic like the Spanish flu to look back on and say, hey, look, we've done this before, and this is how we prevented it. And, like, the crazy thing to me is, you know, I watched Biden's speech when he came out, and, you know, it's always just, like, shocking to me when he comes out and he just gives, like, a normal ass speech. You know, it blows my mind every
because we're used to a fucking clown show.
Yeah, we're used to, you know, when Trump was doing his fucking, like, COVID presentations, and he's like, what if we put bleach in our bloodstreams? What about that? But then Biden comes out and he's like, hey, maybe we should put the masks on. Listen, we're going to start mandating people. We didn't want to do this, but, like, you're kind of forcing our hand here. And so, like, military is now going to have to get the vaccine, and we're going to see what we need to do. People who work in his administration are now forced to get the vaccine, and we're going to see more and more of that as things roll out, where schools, because he mentioned that too, he's like, kids who are old enough to get the vaccine, we're going to try to add it to the list of vaccines. Because here's the thing, and he's absolutely right about this. The military already has a list of vaccines that you have to get before you can join the military. Yeah. So his whole thing is, we're just adding another vaccine to that list. Same with schools. I remember when I had to get my fucking tetanus shot when I went into high school.
Me too. Yeah, you got to get polio. You had to get tetanus. You had to get chicken pox if you hadn't had them. You had a whole lot of vaccines. And I remember having my birth parents having to bring in our medical records to prove that we had these vaccinations before we went to school.
Well, that's a great example, though. Polio was a huge epidemic in America.
Huge.
It was huge. You know, back in the 1900s, and, like, that, like, doesn't even exist now because we had the polio vaccine and it's gone. Yeah. They work. Just get your vaccines, folks. You know, or stay the fuck home. Get your vaccine or stay the fuck home.
What is so bad about it, and I feel horrible. Well, I don't feel horrible. I learned just the other day that a very elderly person that I know, I wouldn't call him a friend because we don't talk every other day or once a week or whatever, but when we see each other, we're very familiar with each other because we went to church together, and he was a leader in my church that I was attending at the time. And he is also a staunch Republican, and was one of those Republicans that on his social media would share things, you know, about Trump, and then would share things that he didn't agree with that Trump would say. So he was kind of one of those middle of the road Trump supporters, but still was a staunch Republican. And when the pandemic hit, because of his age, he really locked down, and he was reluctant to do so, but he did it. He was one of the first to get the vaccine because he was over the age of 65. And he was able to get it. And then he followed what the CDC said, and he took his mask off when they said you can mask and stop social distancing. And he went back to living his normal life because he thought he was safe. And then just yesterday, he posted on social media that he's tested positive for COVID-19. Now, he is vaccinated, so there is a 99% chance that he won't end up in the hospital and he won't die. But he's very frustrated with the fact that he still contracted it, and he feels a little misled by that. And I can almost relate to the fact that he feels misled by that because he was told to stop all precautions. And unfortunately, that didn't seem to be the case because he still ended up contracting it.
Well, I guess, here's the thing, though. Like,
and he's an old guy, too.
Yeah, here's the thing. He probably is going to live because he got the vaccine. So, that's huge. Nothing's 100%. Nothing ever is.
Not even the vaccine is 100%.
No vaccines are ever 100%, right? Like, that's just never the case. But going from 100% to 2% is pretty huge. And then on top of that, yeah, the CDC said mask mandates and masks are optional, right? They became optional because it became less likely that you'd be harmed. It'd be less likely that you'd get sick. I don't know. I guess I'm a little torn on it. The CDC, like we said about the vaccines just a second ago, nothing's 100%. And that could be said about the CDC as well. Like, they're not going to be 100% correct all the time.
Right. And it is science.
Yeah.
And there's always a margin of error.
I still don't even think they were wrong to say, hey, you're probably good.
I just thought that they were a little premature in it, man. It was too soon.
I think the only reason they were premature is because the country was so divided on something they shouldn't be divided on at all.
That's very true.
This shouldn't be a divisive sort of, or divisive. I've been made fun of for saying divisive. It's divisive.
No, say divisive. Fuck those people that are making fun of you. It's divisive.
I think divisive sounds nicer.
It sounds amazing to me.
It flows better.
When you say divisive, it sounds like there's birds singing in my ears.
Yeah. It makes me sound smart, even though
Say it again.
Oh, divisive.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, baby. Yeah, I don't know. It just shouldn't be a divisive thing. And and this goes back to the beginning of the pandemic where people were like, no, I'm not wearing a mask. No, I'm not locking down. And now it's no, I'm not getting the vaccine. And now you're seeing on Fox News that even Fox News is yeah, the vaccine works. And it's dude, you guys are just making this so much longer and you're just delaying everything. Just get on board, man. Just
things are starting to slowly trickle back in. I was looking at my phone as you were talking, and ABC 15 on Instagram posted a picture. Restaurant in Scottsdale to require diners to show proof of their vaccination status.
Yeah. And we're going to see that more and more because it wouldn't have been a thing if people just got the vaccine.
And today, nearly 2,000 new COVID-19 cases recorded in Arizona on Friday as Delta variant continues to spread. And then we were so reluctant. People were so reluctant. And look, if you don't want to get the vaccine, then there's other protocols that you can take. Okay. I know people on both sides of the aisle. I know people that are I don't want the vaccine, but I'm going to mask up everywhere that I go. I'm going to limit where I go. I'm going to, transition into working from home, and I'm going to stay in my house a whole lot more. I'll use more Grubhub. I'll clean things, clean off have my groceries picked up, or delivered. I'll make those other precautions instead of doing something to put into my body so that I'm not a protagonist to spreading the virus. That's one thing. That's one set of people.
I think that's so minor out of the people, though,
It's a very, very small group of people that are willing to do that.
I think most of the people who don't want the vaccine don't even believe COVID's an issue.
That's very true. There's a large majority of people that feel that way. And I think those are the ones that are perpetuating this. And unfortunately, one of those people that I believe feels that way, even though he hasn't come out of his face and actually said it, is sitting in our governor's office right now.
But because well, and the interesting thing, sorry to cut you off, but like the thing about like, you know, Doug Ducey, who you're referring to, and then like even Donald Trump and Tucker Carlson and like all these dudes who spew this nonsense about COVID, they're all vaccinated, all of them. Don't get it twisted. These guys are all vaccinated. Doug Ducey is absolutely vaccinated. He's just doing this because it appeals to his fucking audience,
and you know, he's posturing for a run at the presidency. Doug Ducey is he should have been in the movie Dodgeball, because that motherfucker is so skilled at dodging around saying what he wants to say. It's just what Trump does, is what Michael Cohen claimed that Trump did. Trump doesn't say exactly what he wants you to do. He dodges around what he wants you to do until you get the idea of what he's asking you to do. And Ducey is the same exact way. But Ducey doubled down with his bullshit by actually writing into fucking law that no one can demand mask or vaccination proof.
Yeah, and then
anyone.
But then the federal government was like, "No, you can't. That's fucked. You can't do that." So
the law is still on the books.
I actually saw the
I hope the feds step in and punch his face, because that's just bullshit. That's bullshit, because here's where the COVID-19 cases are coming while you're looking that up. They're coming off the fact of that fucking law. They're coming out of schools. We're seeing babies and kids in ICU. I have a friend that's a nurse that works at Phoenix Children's Hospital in downtown Phoenix. Their COVID unit is expanding right now because they're getting young people and they're back at school. And then there's a law on the books in Arizona that says that schools can't force kids to wear masks. And then the kids that do show up in mask are most likely going to get picked on or bullied by the kids that are coming to school with their parents' ideologies against masking.
So I just saw this article here that is kind of referring to what you're talking about with the masks and the schools. Governor Ducey, like you said, was saying we can't force kids or whatever to wear masks.
He said it's illegal. It's illegal.
The Phoenix Union High School District announces mask requirement and reiterates commitment to public health, public education, and safe return in-person learning. And basically they're saying, we don't care what Doug Ducey says. We want our schools to be safe. So
yeah, same thing that ASU said. ASU released a statement saying the same thing, but ASU isn't a state funded educational system like Phoenix Union High School District is in every other public school.
Yeah, but all these school districts are going to come out and basically be like, no, fuck you. We don't care. Like, and we need the parents to step up and start.
But the parents are fighting the schools.
Some parents, I know a lot of parents though that are like, this is fucking bullshit that I'm sending my kid to school to basically get COVID. It's fucked. It sucks.
Yeah, but then the ones that are louder are the ones that are against sending their kid to school with a mask on.
How come, and we're on the same side here, but like, how come these schools, Doug Ducey is saying we can't force kids to wear masks to schools, but then they're saying kids can't wear spaghetti straps to school.
Or they can't wear flip-flops.
They can't wear flip-flops. Or they have to get the tetanus shot. Like, what
Jake,
is the deal
even
here?
Better.
You can't wear a hat.
Or, no, they have to wear uniforms. Go to Walmart right now. There's a whole aisle of school uniforms now.
To be fair, most of those are private schools, but like still.
No, even public schools require uniforms because the kids come there with a shirt on that says "fuck the police" or a shirt that says "I'm created by my daddy's nut."
God bless those kids, by the way. We respect those kids, and we want more of those kids in this world.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
But they have what do they call it? Clothing protocols and clothing rules.
So how's a mask any different? Yeah,
exactly.
Just wear a mask to school.
When your kid goes to paint with the non-toxic paint, why do you give them a smock to protect them from getting paint on their clothes?
Right.
When you have a high school kid that's learning shop and that day they're working on welding, Why do they put a mask, a welder's helmet on them to protect the kid?
Or
what the fuck is the difference with the mask?
When I was in high school, I took anatomy class and we dissected cats, and I had to wear gloves when we dissected the cats.
When I was in high school, I took a home ec course, aced it with stars, and when I had to pull my quiche out of the oven, I wore a glove.
And I think that's what these school districts, this is their ace in the hole. If this ever like gets pushed back on them, it's just like they can.
But they're gonna have parents fucking standing outside
and that's
picketing and claiming that it's against the law. And then they're gonna have parents suing the school districts.
Let them.
And they're gonna end up winning because in the eyes of the law, the school is wrong.
No, because the school has this ace in the hole where they're like, no, we set the rules, and the rules are you wear goggles when you are working with soaps or whatever. You wear a mask when you're dealing with COVID.
But there is no law that says schools cannot force a kid to wear goggles. Schools cannot force a kid to wear gloves. School cannot force kids to wear smocks. There is a law on the books that says schools cannot force kids to wear masks. And if these districts are going to start saying that masks are required to return to their school, these parents are going to sue. And in the eyes of the law, Jake, they are going to win, and these schools are going to have to either pay out if there's a monetary value attached to it, because judges have to judge in the eyes of the law.
Because here's the thing: these schools are state schools.
The parents are going to sue the schools.
And the parents are going to sue the schools, and they're going to get paid with the money that they gave the school. Let it happen. Fuck them. Fuck those parents. Here's my thing. As Americans, it is our duty to break the laws that are unjust. And I stand by that. I smoked weed every day of my life until it was legalized. I quit as soon as it was legalized because I don't like smoking.
You're such a rebel.
Yeah, dude, fuck it. It's not even about rebellion, though. It's our job to course correct the government when it's wrong. That's our duty as the civilization. A democracy and a republic doesn't work with the government doing everything. It's government, and we're part of the government as civilians. We're there to check the government. That is our duty.
But there's louder people on the side of the government too.
That's fine. Let them be loud.
That are not part of the government, but loud of the government. The fact that we even have to have this discussion is bullshit to begin with. Let's put that out there first and foremost. We shouldn't be having this fucking discussion. We should have went down in a lockdown. When the vaccines came out, everyone should have just been gung-ho to go get the fucking vaccines, or gung-ho to continue to lock themselves down until this motherfucking thing blew over. This thing is going longer than anything else. And I know it's not just America, because other countries are experiencing the same thing. We got to give that credit too, where other countries are experiencing it. But America, we've been leading the way with the most cases, the most deaths, the most vocal against any protocols. And when other countries are like, you're going to take this vaccine, you're going to wear a mask, or we're going to blow your head off in the fucking street.
Well, and other countries, what's happening in a lot of other countries that's not happening here is that, hey, we need more vaccines because we don't have enough to give to our people. And people are desperately like, please give us the vaccine. Where here, we have so much vaccine. You could go into any CVS tomorrow and get a vaccine.
Yep. You can walk in and get one.
And
you can call your doctor's office and walk in and get one.
The sooner people go and fucking do that, we won't have to deal with the schools, and people won't have to wear masks. That's the thing, is like this mask mandate at schools only happens because you dumb fucks won't get your vaccines and you won't stay home. And the sooner you get your vaccine, we can start sending more vaccines across the country so it stops spreading over there. Because when it's spreading over there, more variants are being made. So
because the Delta variant started overseas.
Right. We need the whole fucking world to be vaccinated, bro. As much of it as possible, right? So I don't know, man. It's so fucking frustrating.
It's frustrating as fuck. I agree with you. And I don't understand, and I never will understand. We have so many other governmental issues that we can be debating right now, but we're debating something that is just really cut and dry.
I know.
And the government is saying get the vaccine. They're saying, look, you got to do one or the other. or both. You know, you can't have it both ways. You can have your cake and eat it too. If you don't want to get the vaccine, okay, that's your choice. This is what our federal government is saying. Not our local, not some of the local governments, but the federal government is saying, look, you get the vaccine. If you choose not to get the vaccine, then this is the protocols that you need to follow until the rest of us get this thing done and over with. You're not going to be able to go to your sporting events. You're not going to be able to go out and eat. You're not going to be able to drink in the bars and shit like that unless you follow these certain protocols, or you go and you get the vaccine. There's options for people that can't, because I believe that there are people that have religious reasons that don't want to get vaccine, and they've never gotten any vaccine in their entire life. However, those same people follow other protocols to protect themselves from contracting the diseases that their body is not vaccinated against.
Yeah, but also
there's
fuck
always
those people.
There's always A or B.
But also fuck those people.
It's frustrating, man. It's just frustrating because I'm starting to see hospitalizations go back up because, you know, Jake, I have people in high places. I know people.
Yeah. You're like Rick Harrison from Pawn Stars. Yeah.
I know people. Hospitalizations are starting to go back up. There are hospitals in Florida that are just absolutely maxed. You know what I mean? And it's so funny because everybody was picking on California and their tight restrictions. And right now, California is still in yellow status.
Well,
they're not in red status because they locked down longer than everyone else. And
the proof is in the pudding. Like, because you look at my TV turned on again. That's so random. This happened last week too. But yeah, the proof is in the pudding. Like, you look at a more vaccinated state, and their numbers aren't going up as drastically. And the numbers that are happening, there's not a whole lot of hospitalizations. You know, there's not a whole lot of deaths. But then you look at a place like Florida, numbers are going up, or Arizona. Numbers are going up, and hospitalizations are also going up. I don't want to be too doom and gloom, though, because the thing is, numbers are going up. Like, we're in the 2,000 mark, which is what we were doing when we were at the peak of COVID. But our hospitalization numbers are not what they were at the peak COVID. So, and that's another
too high.
That's another proof is in the pudding that our numbers of the Delta variant are up to where we were when peak COVID, but obviously something is stopping these people from going to the hospital. What is it? What is stopping these people from going to the hospital? Well, what's the one variable that's changed? The vaccine.
Yeah. I also believe that the numbers aren't peaked. The numbers aren't identical to peak. They're still about half the peak because when we were at the peak, Jake, we were averaging about 4,000 to 5,000 cases a day.
You know what I mean.
So we're still about halfway. But yeah, I definitely get the gist of what you're saying.
I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but
neither do I. And I'm making them up as well.
Let me put this out there as well. We're not scientists. We're not.
No, we're stupid. We're podcasters. Or Jake's a podcaster, and I'm a radio personality.
Yeah.
Oh, Jake,
and we're paid like it too.
We are. Oh my gosh, yes, we are. That is so. That's so truthful. It hurts.
Yeah.
Oh, look at the life leave my eyes. It's so truthful. It hurts, man. It's a crazy time, man. I don't get the political aspect behind this whole thing that isn't nowhere near political. I think we went from one extreme of overly ridiculously stupid in Rump, and then we've gone to now I'm too cool for school, Uncle Joe, to the point where Rump was a sideshow and Uncle Joe just seems to be just almost to the point where it's unbelievable whatever the hell he's saying, even if he's saying something good. All you gotta do is get the vaccine.
Well, it's like he's talking to 5-year-olds. And
we're not fucking 5-year-old. Well, some of America.
But that's the thing. So. It's like he has to do that because he's like, God, you guys are so he can't say this, but he's just like, you guys are so stupid. That sounds more like Bill Clinton, but
after Rump's, it does. But after Rump's presidency, what's stopping Joe Biden from coming out and saying, "Look, you dumb motherfuckers"?
Well, because
what's stopping him?
Well, the thing is he's not Trump. I don't like that argument. I know you're saying that as a joke and to be a little facetious, but like I hear this argument from leftists a lot where it's like, why don't why don't we go as hard as Republicans, and why don't we like start calling these people names? And it's like, because we're not Republicans, we don't do that. Yeah. That's not what we do.
We don't want to be divisive.
Right. And you can be divisive without being a fucking asshole. Yeah, I see what you did there with divisive. And here's the thing, man. Hey, man. That's my Joe Biden. Man. That's my Joe Biden. Man. Come on,
man. You got to put on I'm going to buy you some aviators.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Here's the thing, man.
Here's the thing, man. And then you got, cousin Cam over there.
Come on, man. Purely visual. Purely visual. But
you put on your blind man sunglasses.
The thing is,
there is no thing.
Biden is just telling the truth, at this point.
And he's really, 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 really old.
He is. And you just have to tell the truth. You just have to. And
nothing but the truth.
Yeah. And Biden, not a truth teller most of the time. Yeah, I don't like defending Joe Biden. I fucking hate this guy. I remember 4 years ago when they were like, Joe Biden's gonna run. I'm like, fuck that. I don't want Joe Biden to run for president. I remember this time when he was running. I'm like, I don't want fucking Joe Biden. There's so many there's so many better options than this motherfucker. But
you're just a You're just a burner.
Bernie's fine. There's better than Bernie too.
You want Ock to run in 2024, huh?
Ock?
AOC.
Oh, yeah, I like AOC. But who I'd really like?
You like her boobs.
Who I'd really like to see run?
Oprah.
Me. This is me announcing my... I won't even be old enough. I won't even be old enough.
You know what, Jake? You'd have one vote. Okay, maybe two with Austin.
I wouldn't even be old enough, so I can do it.
I don't. Oh yeah, you're not even old enough to run.
Yeah, you gotta be 35.
Old enough.
I won't be old enough at the next one either. Yeah.
Oh damn it! By the time you're old enough to run for president, it's not even gonna be worth it.
I know there will be no more country left to run for.
No, it will be China West.
So I wanted to bring this up real quick at the end of the show. Last week we talked about the movies and theaters. I just wanted to bring this up as a little addition to that. Last week we were talking about...
Please not be what I think it is.
We were talking about how, theaters and Disney Plus. Well, it was just announced that Scarlett Johansson is suing Disney for putting the movie on Disney Plus, basically claiming that she lost about $50 million. Because like I said last week, she was getting paid on points. She was also a producer of the movie, and she had no say in what happened with the movie. So, yeah, pretty fucked. And now Scarlett Johansson, I just said that. Emma Stone is saying she's thinking about suing Disney for putting Cruella on Disney Plus. Kevin Feige, who is the head of the MCU, who should be supremely respected by Disney because this is the person who has made Disney what Disney is today with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And he was like, yeah, I fought Disney on this. And if they lose Kevin Feige, dude, that's horrible fucking news for Disney. And that's what I keep saying, man. This medium doesn't exist without the artists. And if the artists leave the medium to go do something else, like, Disney's fucked, man. They need to get it together. Yeah. They need to get it together. So,
you're very passionate about it. I didn't mean to disparage it, but you are very passionate about it. You keep sharing information with me about it. I'm not as invested.
You're just like, I don't give a fuck. Stop messaging me.
I'm not as invested because you said that Scarlett Johansson is suing. But my question that first came to mind is, how much money did she actually make?
I mean, she probably made it.
And at the end of the day, she's still fucking rich. So it's kind of hard for me to see her case, but it's very close to you. It's close to your heart. So I respect that. So I'm not disparaging it, but you're all in on this. You really are. And you're very passionate about it too.
Yeah, of course she's rich. And she still made a shitload of money. Of course. But
you're upset that she didn't make more?
Well, I'm upset that Disney is making billions. Well, the people who are making these things aren't.
Well, see, I'm afraid of Disney, so that's probably why I'm afraid of Disney and Oprah and Ellen.
That is one of the first episodes we did. You're like, there are 4 rules that I have. We don't talk about Ellen. We don't talk about Disney. We don't talk about Oprah, and we don't talk about, I don't remember what the last one was, Kanye or something. And
Beyonce.
Beyonce, that's what it was.
Beyonce. And, I'm scared of them. They're part of the
And the funny thing is, over the course of these past, 71 episodes, we've talked about all of them. And we've disparaged all of them.
You don't care
except for
about
baby Beyonce.
You don't care about my feelings. Hell, I just attacked the Korean Beyoncés with BTS, so.
We've never come after Oprah. We've got nothing but love for Oprah.
I have nothing but love for the record. Hi America. Hi, the world. This is Cory Blaze. I have nothing but love for Oprah Winfrey.
Although you did say some disparaging things about her best friend, Meghan Markle. So,
yeah, that's fine. But they're not best friends. Gayle King is her best friend. But I love Oprah Winfrey. I love Ellen DeGeneres. I love Disney and ABC. I love I love Beyonce and all the beehives. I love you all. Jake, on the other hand, doesn't fear you.
Listen, if Disney gave me some sort of incentive not to say these things, wink, wink.
Yeah,
maybe I'd stop saying them.
Hey, once you fry the mouse, you can't unfry it, Jake. And you fried that mouse, brother. You have fried that mouse. I'm Team
DreamWorks.
I'm licking on those mouse balls. They own half the world.
I'm Team DreamWorks because. Speaking of fried rats, that scene in Shrek when they're eating rats. Come on, dude, Shrek is better. Shrek is better than anything Disney has ever made, and that's. I am
Cory Blaze, and I love and support everything Disney has done. I support them putting movies in theaters and putting it on their streaming platforms. Yeah. I have no opinion of that,
especially Disney, Song of the South.
Disney, this is Cory Blaze. You can put Aunt Jemima back on the shelves at Disneyland and I wouldn't care. You were Disney. You can put Uncle Ben's, you can make a ride at Disney where it's titled Uncle Ben's Rides and it's just a trailer pulling you through fields of rice, and I'm okay with it, Disney. Do whatever you absolutely like to do, Disney. If you want to re-air old movies where actors are in blackface, I'm okay with that. I'll stream it on your Disney Plus. Disney, ABC. This is Cory Blaze. I love you. Jake, not so much.
That's true. Although I do have a full podcast that just reviews all of the MCU. So yeah, you do make up like half of our content on this channel. So appreciate that.
I'm so scared. You think I'm kidding? I'm scared of these freaking organizations and individuals. They're too powerful, man. And you know what else? Who else is coming up in the ranks there? Old Mark Cuban, owner of the Dallas Mavericks. Now I'm not scared of the Musk because the Musk is not friends with the Mouse, the Winfrey, the Ellen, or the Beehive. So I'm not afraid of Musk. He may be big, but Disney and everybody else that is bigger than him. I'm not afraid of the Bezos. Not afraid of him.
So you're not scared of Amazon? Amazon to me is more terrifying than Disney.
No, because Amazon is one fuck up away from ruin.
Why is that? You have to realize Why do you think that?
Because they're too volatile.
I feel the same about Disney.
They are one fuck up away from ruin. No, Disney has effed up in the past and bounced back. I think Amazon is one fuck up away, and there are 15 competitors waiting in the wings for Amazon to trip up because it's just going to be a specific amount of time before someone figures out Amazon's secret. And when they figure out how Amazon is doing what Amazon does, Amazon will become, we didn't know about Amazon 15 years ago. They're going to fuck up. And they're going to slip up and it's going to come at the hands of Bezos.
Well, I feel the opposite. I feel like Amazon is way more scary than Disney. And let me tell you why. Okay?
Why?
Disney just makes some fucking TV shows and shit. They just have some media conglomerates. Amazon makes and delivers and runs everything at this point. They run the warehouses. They run the they do their own shipping now. Like, they do everything. It's them. And if some competitor comes up behind them and tries to do it, all Amazon has to do is and this has been seen multiple times. Amazon just lowers their prices because they can afford to take the loss, and then that other company loses out because people are like, oh, it's cheaper on Amazon, I'll just get it on Amazon. And that is just how Amazon rolls. With Disney, it's just they make movies, and
that's not all Disney does. That is so narrow-minded of you to say.
They make movies and they have ABC or whatever the fuck.
Disney is behind so many
tell
things
me then.
you don't even realize.
Okay, tell me then, Mr. Conspiracy Man, what do they own?
I'm not conspiracy, and I don't have exactly all of what Disney is behind, because there are so many things that have parent companies of parent companies.
Right. So
and
Disney,
you have to also realize that everything that's ABC and everything that rolls into ABC also rolls down to Disney. Right. Disney has a tree of life in their park, and that's exactly how Disney is designed. It's a tree. There's branches everywhere.
Yeah, for sure.
Amazon doesn't do that. Amazon grows a branch to shade over somebody else until they kill that plant off, and then Amazon cuts that tree off and raises their prices back up.
But what I'm saying about Disney is they own like Fox, ABC, all this shit. These are all like television. They're all like, movies.
It's an entertainment mecca.
It's all entertainment. Amazon is way more diabolical than that. They're like trying to get into fucking space travel, dog. Like, come on.
They are getting into space travel because Bezos has got so much fucking money, he doesn't know what else to do with it. That's the only reason why they're in space travel.
So he's literally sending off over 1,000 satellites a year. He's blocking off the exit of the Earth, dog. Disney ain't doing that shit.
Bezos will be the reason mankind.
There's no reason to be scared of Disney.
And there's no reason to be scared of Amazon and Bezos.
That is naive.
You should be scared of Walmart more than Bezos.
Why? Amazon has killed Walmart.
Well, Walmart's got Jesus. It's a Christian family that owns Walmart. They got Jesus, and Jesus is more powerful than Bezos will ever be.
Yeah.
I read it in a book. 66 of them, matter of fact.
All it takes for Disney to fail is just like all of the next Marvel movies to tank. And
Disney's been around a lot longer than Bezos has.
That's true, but like fucking Disney almost failed in the 90s. They bounced back in a big way bigger than they ever were. But like they almost crumbled there for a while.
But also, by the way, when the panty is really over, how about I buy me and you 4-day passes to Disneyland? You down?
I'd be down, but it sounds very expensive.
Of course it is, but Jake, it's me.
I love Disneyland. It's so expensive though.
And we deserve it.
I agree, but we're poor, so.
You're poor.
I'm poor.
Yes.
I'm rich. I'm rich in life. I wish that was true. Anyway,
you're rich in love and friends.
Yeah.
And if you just leaned in a little bit more to your resources, but you're not that person that wants to lean into your resources, and that's fine. But still, that will be our official pandemic breakout. A trip to Disneyland.
I would love to go to Disneyland. Let's go to Six Flags, dude. See like Bugs Bunny mountain.
You know where I actually want to go? I want to go to not Disneyland, not California Adventures. What's the other one that's more of the entertainment theme park?
Universal
Studios. I would love to go to Universal Studios.
I'd love to go to Disney World. I've never been there, and
I hear it's just a bigger, shinier version of Disneyland.
That sounds wonderful. That sounds phenomenal.
I don't want to go to Florida.
Yeah, I don't want to go to Florida either, but I would love to go to Disney World.
How about Disney Paris?
Disney Paris would be cool. You know what I'd really like to go to is Disney Shanghai Disney. I'd love to go there.
Yeah, I hear BTS performs there every night.
They're Korean. Shanghai's in China.
Shit.
Shanghai is the newest one, and I hear it's just phenomenal. I hear it's.
Have you been to Washington D.C.?
I've never really been to the East Coast. The farthest I've gone is Nashville.
Oh, dude, I got to take you to Washington D.C.
I'd rather do something like that than Disneyland, honestly.
All right. When I go tour the podcast, another podcast, I was about to mention them, but another podcast network out there. I'm planning on touring them. I was planning on touring this year, but the pandemic has not gotten a lot better. It's actually getting worse. But once everything has really calmed down, I am planning on going back out to Washington, D.C. I will be flying Delta. But I would love for you to go. I would love for you to go along.
Because Delta, because the variant, or?
No, I'm flying Delta because I like their airline. Yeah. I like their planes. And also when you fly them, you always get a layover in Atlanta. And that was pretty cool. And when I flew before and I had a layover in Atlanta, I wish it was longer because I wanted to see more of Atlanta. The nice areas of Atlanta, not the Tyler Perry studios. But when I go to Washington D.C. and tour this very big podcast network, because a friend of mine is the operating partner of this.
Cory,
he's invited me out to see. Yeah, I know a guy. When I go, I would love for you to go.
Yeah, I'm down.
I would absolutely love for you to go. Yeah,
I want to go to Seattle again.
I want to move to Seattle, man.
Yeah, same. We could
Don't start. Let's move
the Lonercast studios to Seattle.
We can move the Lonercast studios to Seattle. I can't move the BDB radio networks, but I can still remote in to the BDB radio networks and still do Fat Guy.
Make weekly trips to Phoenix for Fat Guy radio show.
If I lived in San Diego, I would.
Hell yeah, dude.
But I would move to Seattle in a fucking heartbeat.
We could move to Austin like every other podcaster, I guess.
If we were a podcaster that was big on Twitch, that would be the move to make. By the way, speaking of Twitch, XQC again banned from Twitch.
What did he do this time?
I don't know, and I also think he lost his house. I think he lost his house because his whole setup has changed.
Is it maybe he just moved?
Yeah, or something of that nature. But why would you want to sell your house right now? Because literally, if you sell your house the way the housing market is here in Arizona, you're pretty much going to be a very rich homeless person. Because even though you're going to make $200,000 off of the sale of your property, it's going to cost you $600,000 to get into another property.
Yeah, but if he was living in like a big ass fucking house, and maybe maybe he just sold that, downsized a bit. And then when the house market gets better, he'll buy a bigger house.
Probably so. Or maybe him and Adept just got sick of driving around both of their matching Teslas.
Did he live in like I really don't know that much about XQC. Did he live in like a streamer house?
He lived in a very big affluential area in Austin.
Like a content house though? Was that where did he live in like a content house?
I don't know what's considered a content house. It just seemed like a really big house that he shot and played video games in.
A content house is where you have like 3 or 4 different content creators who all live in the same house.
No. He was just big ass house with him and Adept.
Well, Adept was there then.
Well, Adept is his girlfriend.
Oh, okay. I like I said, I don't know anything.
Yeah. XQC. Adept is his girlfriend. So no, it wasn't a content house. It was just his house.
Okay.
And very, 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 very nice house with this long path drive up. And that's just because I know from shit that he's put on social media.
Did he get banned because of the gambling stuff? Is that?
I don't know what he got banned of. He didn't get banned from NoPixel. He got banned from Twitch.
Yeah, because I know there was a whole lot of like gambling conspiracy that somehow involved him.
Something happened, but
he was encouraging kids to gamble or something. I don't know.
I look at his Twitter and I'm like, oh, here we go. It's our quarterly XQC apology tour.
I
where
feel
he types in all caps apologizing for something he's done and that he swears he's going to get better at.
So I'm more scared of these streamers than I am of Disney because this has more to do with my content than Disney does, right? Like these guys could affect my career way more than Disney ever could. But I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say something controversial here. I feel like all of these fucking content creators who live in these like content houses, I feel like they're all just like David Dobrik, and they're all like on the verge of like some sort of big scandal coming out, like where they're all like, I don't know. I don't want to make any sort of accusations, but like I feel like they're all on the verge of like
where they're
doing
like the
something.
scandals are going to be like they've been selling off shavings of their foreskins,
or like they're giving like alcohol to minors or something. I don't know. Like,
I like my shavings of foreskins better.
I don't understand what that means, but I'm with it though. I would buy a XQC dick shaving
foreskin shave
keychain. Yeah.
You want to walk around with SQC's foreskin around your neck?
Yeah, for sure. I would absolutely.
That's gross because sometimes people walk around with their necklaces in their mouth. Oh, all right. Well, thank you.
Oh, well, that's
a brutal layoff.
Thanks for watching and listening, everyone that's watching and listening.
Thanks, Austin.
Thanks, Austin. Thanks to everyone else. We're really blowing up. The algorithm is really on our side.
The algorithm is on our side. Who says that?
The algorithm fucking hates us, dude. Our content is seen by nobody. It's so fucking stupid.
You know why it is? You've got too many black people on your shows.
I know, dude. Nick is out of control. We've got some exciting content coming to the YouTube channel, though. Make sure you check out the YouTube Lonercast. Also, check us out on twitch.tv/Lonercast. We do the Loner Gamecast there every Monday at 3:30 Pacific time. We're very close to affiliate. Once we hit affiliate, I'm going to plan on doing a lot more streams, a lot more fun things.
Hot tub stream, please.
Hot tub streams. I've rearranged my room so I can now fit a hot tub in my bedroom. All sorts of exciting things coming in the stream. Maybe we'll poke Cory onto a couple of the live streams if we can. Maybe play some Stardew or something.
When you become affiliate, can you please do one stream in a bikini?
Yeah, sure.
It's hiding. It hides the giblets. It hides the nips.
Here's the thing. I will make the promise that if I ever become partnered on Twitch, I will do a stream in a bikini.
How about you just promise that the next stream you do will be in a bikini? You know what? I'll join you.
I gotta raise the bar.
People would probably want to see me in a bikini too. They'll probably just see me and not the bikini, but I'll have it on. It'll be under one of these fabs of flap of fat.
Yeah, that is the promise. If we hit partner on Twitch, we will do a stream in the bikini once a week for the rest of our lives.
And to throw it back to the beginning of the show, in the words of In Vogue, never gonna get it, 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 never gonna get. Whoa, 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 whoa!
Dirty Bop. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong song.
I'll be your wish. I'll be your. Dude, try singing that song without taking a breath. You will pass what they call the fuck out. Oh, I'm sorry. End of the show. 5, 6, 7. Oh, finish your plugs. I'm sorry.
No, that's it. That's the plugs. Everything is plugged, as they say.
I got another.